What's up?
I despise your killings and rapings. You're despicable.
Huh. Are you my judge?
It's just, you should be punished. I'm going to chop off your arms. So are you ready?
All right, so Netflix is slowly gaining more and more my respect because not only did they put on films like The Platform, LA Originals, films from a few years ago like The Outsider and the Ritual, like some of these really good films. Obviously, they did not fucking make, they're just distributing. They're not Netflix originals like fucking Mr. Netflix wrote the script and directed it and fucking edited it and all that. That's horseshit. But they are getting the distributing rights to a lot of good stuff right now. And some of those movies, I gotta say, are some Shaw Brothers films. So Shaw Brothers is a company much like Warner Brothers. They're a film production company based overseas, and they've put out a slew of films. Some of the best, what my uncles often refer to as chop sake. They put out some of the best stuff, high quality shit. There's a lot of stuff from the 70s that is very low quality, low production quality. The sound is off, all that kind of stuff. So when you're getting a Shaw Brothers film, you know you're getting like a good one. Like this is an actual, you know, like Toei or Toho. Like there's a lot of good companies, more shitty companies than good companies, but the good ones that are there are really good. So we're going to take a look at two Shaw Brothers films today. The first one you can see on Netflix, and that is The 36 Chambers of Shaolin, which, if you're a fan of the Wu-Tang Clan, you know that they named their first album Enter the Wu, 36 Chambers of Wu-Tang. And even more deeper connection to the Wu-Tang, on the commentary track of this, which is fantastic, it's by the RZA and a film critic named Andy Klein, and I've listened to this commentary, and it's fucking awesome. You know, and a lot of times when we have these movies that are older that don't have anybody to reach out to do the commentaries, they get a film critic. I never really have a good time with those. With this, it was awesome. It was the RZA and this guy just literally shooting shit about fucking movies, and it's so cool. And I actually seen this, I believe, before RZA had put out his film. I'm trying to see if I can find it on the shelf here. It's in front of me somewhere, but he put out a film called The Man with the Iron Fist, which was followed by a sequel that wasn't as good or directed by the RZA. But I love RZA's like style, and like his interests me. Now, I highly recommend you read the Wu-Tang Manual, especially if you're into this kind of stuff. It touches on everything from music, movies, comic books, religion. Like it's all over the place, but really good. So it's a really good listen. There's also some there's an interview with the RZA and David Shute and Andy Klein. There's a thing on here called Shaolin, a Hero Birthplace. Concert video for Wu-Tang's Gravel Pit. Like it's insane. And one thing I gotta point out, just because if I don't, I'll be pissed at myself. Wu-Tang, in conjunction with Ground Zero, put out a bunch of these movies where they renamed them, and you know, they came with like interviews with members of the Wu-Tang. They came with music videos, like all that kind of stuff. So those are some lowbrower type films. You're not getting any Shaw Brothers films in there, but films like Shaolin Drunkards and The Snake Shadow Llama Fist and shit like that. But basically, the story of 36 Chambers, I'll read the back of it just so you get a really good idea of what we got here. The 36 Chambers of Shaolin, a must-have for any self-respecting kung fu movie collector, takes martial arts fans inside the legendary Shaolin Temple, birthplace to kung fu. This masterful Shaw Brothers classic inspired two wildly successful sequels and influenced an entire generation of filmmakers. So this is what happens in the film. When Manchu invaders ravage a defenseless village, one wounded and desperate student seeks refuge at the secretive monastery of Shaolin. Fueled by wrath, he undertakes a grueling program of martial arts training that hones his strength, agility, and endurance in order to defeat his enemies. So it's all this dude right here, Gordon Liu, whose Asian name is Lu Chi Hu, and I believe his brother directed this film. So Gordon Liu was a choreographer, his brother was a director, and they collabed all the time. So that's fucking really awesome, because especially being a filmmaker myself that has collaborated with my brother on almost every project I've ever done, except for one of them, which was the vinyl documentary. But so yeah, our hero, he basically, like it says, these assholes come along, fuck over the village, and our guy, he ends up getting cut on his leg and ends up getting like gangrene and shit, but he finds his way to the Shaolin monastery, and he's put through 36 different chambers, which are, or 35 chambers, which are all these different tasks, everything from like wrist, like mastering control of your wrist, which is funny to say, your eyeballs, like all these things, and they're set up in crazy ways. Like there's one scene where there's all these like heavy bags and you got to use your head to hit them. So there's all these chambers, and once our hero has made it through all 35 chambers, he wants to create his own chamber. He leaves for a while, comes back, he wants to make his own chamber, and they're basically like, no, you can't. And it's not until he discovers this weapon, which is like a three-pieced weapon connected by chains. It's like nunchucks with 3 things instead of 2, and that's how he gets his chamber, because he goes to the monks at the where he's training and asks, like, and they're like, there's no 36 chambers, there's only 35 and all that, and he basically pleads and pleads, and then once he's able to defeat this one asshole, not really asshole, but this one guy that's a Shaolin monk with his tool that he created, they then grant him the ability to create the 36 chambers, and then you get into the sequel, Return to the 36 Chambers. On the back here, it says there's 2 sequels, but I did not know that. I've only seen Return to 36 Chambers, so we'll leave it at that for this one. This is a great fucking film. It is a long eyebrow kung fu film, as I call them, but really good one. Not like it's highbrow. It's not lowbrow at all. So if you're in the mood for something really good, it's streaming on Netflix right now. So that's going to lead us to our second and final feature of this video, and this is one of Richie's films. Like one of his kung fu films that accidentally got thrown out was a film that I talked about recently. It's called Shaolin Pulls, and I have the disc, but I do not have the case, which just irks me. But what can you do? So this movie in question, once again, is a Shaw Brothers film, and it is called Three Evil Masters. So this is clearly a very lowbrow, like it's like a Walmart dollar DVD, and basically this movie starts off amazing with this badass guy at this tea house, and then these 3 pricks come along. Actually, let me read the front. I'll read the back real quick. A noted kung fu master, Chen Kwai Tai, is ambushed by the 3 evil masters and badly injured. He is taken care of by a kind-hearted orphan who starts to learn from the master and eventually realizes he must stomp out the evils. Superb training and action scenes make 3 evil masters a must-see epic. So with this badass sitting at this tea house, these 3 pricks come along, and they have this hilariously fucking heavily sampled back and forth for like 30 seconds about how, I despise your raping and killing and all that kind of stuff. And then it breaks into this huge fucking fight. Our hero gets stabbed and basically flees the scene. These 3 evil masters are out on the loose. As our hero guy is bleeding out, essentially, this orphan guy comes along, finds him, and takes care of him. And the master starts to teach him. And over the course of time and different tests, he learns how to kick ass, and he's kind of like a goofy guy. Everyone makes fun of him and all that, but he learns his way. Like, and the training scenes are cool because there's parts where he's breaking shingles, like Asian, like those classic Chinese shingles that are made out of like ceramic. Put a bunch of them in water, and you got to break them with your fists. And man, it's cool. Like, the thing about these movies that I love are all the training sequences and watching the guy build up to the end fight with the final boss. I think these are the movies that most resemble video games to me. You know what I mean? But really good stuff. And the 3 evil masters get their comeuppance. And I believe, like, the one main asshole, like the lead bad guy, he uses his hair as like a weapon, and it's ridiculous. But that's another thing you got to point out about some of these Asian films. Some of the fucking, or kung fu films, I should say, like, some of the weapons are fucking ridiculous, but it's awesome. And I think movies like you wouldn't have films like Kill Bill if it wasn't for films like this. You wouldn't have a lot of your really good stuff if it wasn't for Shaw Brothers and different companies like that laying the groundwork over all the years of the 70s and whatnot, creating this market for these types of films in a Western civilization, or Western audience. Like, I know tons of people that fucking hate kung fu films, but the people that I know that love them fucking adore them. So, and I'm one of those people. So, yeah, man, with that being said, I appreciate everybody for watching. Check out 36 Chambers of Shaolin streaming on Netflix right now. Check out 36 Chambers, the Wu-Tang album. Check out Return to 36 Chambers, which is the sequel to the film in question. And check out Return to 36 Chambers, which is Old Dirty Bastard's debut album. Yeah, so, and check out the Facebook page. Link will be in the description. So with that being said, adios.